Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So hopefully you guys all had a chance to update to 2.6.8. Obviously there are some updates in terms of the light and shadow requirements to get some extra benefits. I won't go over that in this video. In today's episode of Should You Summon though, we're going to be covering all the different banners available in the second part of Japan's 4-year anniversary celebration. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So like most banners, there are some that are paid and some that are free. So let's cover the paid ones first. This one is one that a lot of people are excited about. It's called the Twins Destinies encounter, and I believe you only get one shot. So you do have to use 1,000 paid stones, and however, on the 9th and 10th encounter, so on 2 out of the 10, it guarantees an AS 5-star. So that's actually very, very beneficial. So let's just scroll down the list. Obviously, all the newest units in all paid banners are here. Milsha is here, Melissa, Hina, so on and so forth, Yukino, Mystere. And let's go down the list. So AS Hismena is here. You can see this percentage is about 3%. And so I'm guessing without going further down, that's going to be about 30 odd, or 33, let's just say, AS version out there. Keep in mind that some are 4 stars that can be upgraded or side graded to 5 stars as well. So AS Nikkei, for example, AS Kane, AS Seal, AS Foreign, and AS Runa. They are all included in this banner. And of course, on summons 1 to 8, you have the requisite amount of, bots, Rainbow Sisters possible, 3.5, 4s, and so on and so forth. You can also get 5 stars in the encounters 1 to 8 that are not AS. So keep that in mind. So, if you're wondering whether or not you should summon on this one, provided you do use paid stones, and of course there are some sales on Chrono Stones right now, definitely this would be a 10 out of 10 banner. Now, I'm going to cover this Should You Summon series, this particular episode, a little bit different because I know there's a lot of new players to the game. And so I'll talk about it in, depending on what part of the game you're in. If you're in the beginning, you probably have very limited number of 5 stars. Any 2 AS units or another style units is going to boost your roster tremendously to get through most of the story content, probably some of the optional content, and eventually build your roster that way. So for you in the early game and mid game, it's a 10 out of 10 banner. Getting 2 5 stars for the price of 1. Keep in mind that most Fatefuls or most paid stones only give you 1 guaranteed 5 star. This is 2 guaranteed 5 stars, not including the chance of getting other 5 stars. For those of us in the end game who wants to pay paid stones, the answer is a little bit more tricky. So first of all, we'll cover it from, I guess, a light spender versus a heavy spender. If you're a heavy spender, this is an optional way to get more light and shadow on your units. And if you dupe high enough where you get past 255, all those extra points will be converted into luring shadow or guiding light items, which you can then use for other units that have the same weapon type and are of the same light or shadow. So if you want to build your top light and shadow team that way, that is great. 2 for the price of 1 is still very, very good. And keep in mind that with this update, you do get benefits for having high light or high shadows on your units. Now, for those who are lighter spenders, the answer really comes back to how many AS units are you missing? Keep in mind that if you do get the AS unit, it also unlocks the eventual ability to side grade down to the OG or normal style unit. And so for many of you who may be missing, for example, regular version of Sakia, and I know she's not as powerful as AS Sakia, there is still an option to get the manifest weapon that way, unlock a few stones and achievements. Same with Hozuki, for example. I know Rosetta, all the ones here, they do have regular versions, and most of them have manifests. So all in all, unless you really don't feel the need to add to your roster, this is a 10 out of 10 banner. 2 for the price of 1, you can't beat that. You can find a use for 2 for 1 in almost any part of the game for yourself. Now the next Fateful encounter is a little bit more interesting. So this one features 10 different units. Again, you can get different units in summons 1 to 9, but on the 10th encounter, it guarantees one of the following. So obviously it gives you AS Hismena, Pramaya, Mayumpha, Hardy, Rector, and so on and so forth. And you can see the odds here. they're guaranteed on the 10th pull to be 10%. So on the 10th one, you can't get any other units. Like I said, you can get all the other units and summons 1 to 9. And Milsha, the newest unit, is featured here. So if you're wondering whether or not you should summon here, first of all, you can use this up to 3 times. And I guess the answer is, if you're already going for Hismena, AS, normally you only get a 10% chance of getting her anyways. And then obviously the rest of it would be, you know, a random 5-star. So if you find the other 9 attractive, either because you're missing some of them, especially some of the zone units like Mayufa and Hardy, you can opt to summon on this one. Again, you're getting bonus of kind of having predetermined units coming out of the 10th pull instead of one of the random, you know, 40 odd or 50 odd, you know, 5-stars. I don't know how many there are in the game, but, you know, quite a few 5-stars in the game. And so this helps narrow things down. On the other hand, if you like just aiming for AS Hismena and you don't really find a need for the other 9, this one will have much less benefit for you, being that, you know, now you're only really getting a 10% chance of getting Hismena AS, and then the other 9 may be of little or no use to you. So again, look at your roster, decide whether or not you want multiple units or none, and then determine what value you put on this banner. So each one is individual for yourself, of course. Now let's scroll down to the next one here. This is obviously the standard AS banner and the Fateful Banner for AS Hismena. And again, just like standard Fatefuls, 10% flat chance on the 10th encounter. Obviously on summons 1 to 9, you have a chance of getting her as well. Otherwise, you know, you do have the regular guaranteed 5-star. Otherwise, all the newest units are here, Milsha, so on and so forth, just like before. And so, you know, if you are going for AS Hismena, 10% chance, pretty standard stuff. You know, I think the other one, again, if you need one of those other 9 units, that one probably has more value for you. Otherwise, if you just want to go for Hismena and you don't mind paying, you know, paid stones, go for it. Now, which really comes down to now, we have 2 more for free-to-plays as well as those who use paid stones. So let's cover the first more unique one here. This brilliant encounter has only come up, I think, once before in Global. I'm not sure how many times in Japan. And this one is very interesting. So you can take a look here. You only get 1 shot. You can use 1,000 paid stones, or like myself, use 1,000 free-to-play stones. On the 10th pull, instead of getting a guaranteed only 4-star unit, you can get a 4.5 or better. So again, for those who are relatively new to the game, what that means is that some units are only capped out at a 4-star rarity. That is, you cannot make them more powerful. They are just 4 stars. They are capped at level 60 and they have limited damage and moves. Some of them are 4.5. So you'll see a shaded star on the kind of 5th star. That means it could be upgraded eventually to a 5-star unit. And 5-star units are much more powerful, have much more powerful moves, and have 20 additional levels for a total of level 80. In this case, all the new, actually not all the newest units are here. It's only up to Melissa. So we are missing Milsha. And let's see if AS Yuan is here. AS Rosetta is here. Let's just take a look here. Yuan OG only. So this isn't the newest units out there. However, it has, you know, anything up to the last, let's say, month or so. Okay, you can just take a look here. And of course, on the normals, summons 1 to 9. Again, the requisite normal amount of 3.5, 4s, 5 stars, of course, and, you know, Rainbow Sisters, bots, and, you know, knights. That being said, it is a one-shot deal. If you think about this, a Brilliant Encounter essentially is a downgraded version of a Fateful Encounter, and it's open to free-to-plays. So, being that the 10th encounter guarantees a 4.5 or better, that means eventually that 4.5 unit can be upgraded to a 5-star. And I know there's going to be complaints about chance, treatises, and so forth. On average, if you are grinding out, you should get a 5 chance and a, you know, hopefully a couple of treatises. The 5 chance should come hopefully in about 2 months or less. If you're really lucky, less than that. The treatises are a little bit more tricky, in which case it can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get 3 of them and then buy 2 from those stores. That being said, considering we already summon on banners that don't guarantee a 4.5, why is this one any worse? This one is an awesome encounter. I will be summoning on this and I'll show you that video later. I would rate this as a 10 out of 10. Now, the other argument you can say is that, what if you have most of the units? Well, then it comes down to how many stones do you have saved up, whether or not you're going to spend 1,000 stones here, or 1,000 stones on, say, a featured banner which you want more. For example, Milsha, some people would want Milsha more, or say AS Hismena more, in which case you're thinking about passing up on this. I'd like you guys to all to reconsider that decision, only because although these don't have all the newest units, unless you are a light to moderate spender or a heavy spender, you're probably still missing units out of your roster that this can fill a need for. And if you get a 4.5 of an eventual need, that's still pretty good. So again, just keep that in mind. Again, I know that some of you might pass on it, but it is giving you value. Like I said, guaranteed 4.5. Not many banners have that for free to place. And finally, our last one, AS Hismena's regular banner. So this is not a Fateful. This is open to anyone who wants to spend regular or paid stones. This is a dedicated banner, so you have the OG form featured as well. 0.4 for the 4.5, 0.8 and 0.8 for the OG and AS respectively. You do have access to Melissa, which is an older unit by this time, of course. However, the newest units for free-to-play or regular banners aren't usually featured, and this is no exception. You don't see Milsha here, and like I said, let's look at AS Yuan being the second newest. Nope, you don't see that. So a couple of units that you don't have access to. In the case of AS Hismena, I have mixed feelings about her. Now, I don't claim to know all her moves. I know that Discord has discussed it, and I'm sure you can look up additional information in other online sources. That being said, she has obviously a lot of her 4-star moves. The one of note that I would mention is the Argus Bale, which is the one that's the quad hit piercing single target and self-damage 30%. That can still add some marginal benefit to you if you want to increase AF multiplier. However, the main value in her 5-star is essentially her 2 spam powerful moves, and all of them, there's a 3x XL single target and a single target 1 hit. So the idea is to use the 1-hit one to give 3 stacks of power and speed for a total of 60%, so 30, 15, and 15. And eventually you could also alternate that with the other move that essentially does tons and tons and tons of damage. That one also puts boosts the water type attack of user plus 30 for a maximum of 3 stacks, 30, 45, and 60. So each move boosts each other. Some people say you can spam 3 of one and then convert to the other, or you can just do 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, like kind of playing piano. The multiplier or the damage potential on these moves are extremely high, and so I believe that even in Japan, AS Hismena is considered one of the top tier water pierce lance DPS in the game. She loses her VC where she comes in like the OG version and hits everything, but I mean her power makes up more than enough for it. Now, in the case of adding her or summoning for her, 2 things. If you have the OG version and you're a light spender or a free-to-play, absolutely do not spend stones on this banner. And this is a common theme that I've mentioned in other videos as well. The reality is, if you own any form of her already, you should, for efficiency's sake, farm those treatises and chants. And the reason why is, to get a good try on most summoning banners is anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 stones. If you use it here, you won't have the 3,000 to 5,000 stones to potentially summon on a new unit that you do not have that may be more powerful in the future. And we know that there is power creep in the game, and so summoning in the future may bring you even more powerful units. Now, for those who don't have AS Hismena, now this is an interesting question, like any form of Hismena. She is a top tier pierce water unit in the game. So how I look at building units, and I may have touched on this before, but if I haven't, I look to always kind of refresh my team roster. What I mean by that is I'm looking at my elements as well as my weapon type that is either pierce type and or water type, and looking at my existing teams. Do my teams look dated? Are the units like, say, 12 months old and probably lost a lot of their glamour as well as DPS or power? In which case, if you're essentially using really old water units or water pierce units, you would consider upgrading or buying Hismena and summoning here. Because she is, like I said, a top tier DPS. She plays very well with AS forward, either in a pierce zone, or you can consider using her in a water zone and having support like, for example, AS Leclerc, you got Yukino. You can even use it in a mixed weapon type water team with Shaney. There's the options are there. So if you are really missing a top tier DPS for water, either water pierce or water elemental, then you can consider summoning on her. If you have a pretty good water team and a pretty good pierce team, I would opt not to summon on her. And the reason is, again, you only have a certain amount of stones unless you're a whale, and you have to really balance out refreshing or adding new units to your team versus an absolute need, because there may be other needs in either some elements or some weapon types that you don't have enough of. Now, again, I mentioned this yesterday, but if you didn't catch it, I'm probably planning not to summon. I might be tempted to add her because if you've been following this channel since the beginning, when IDA came out, I really wanted OG Hismena, spent a bunch of stones, missed, got no 5 stars, no featured, so on and so forth. The salt is real. In this case, now that I have a better team and roster, I'm not sure if I need her, although I could always use her. So, don't mistake me not wanting her with not being able to use her. I can and absolutely would use her. It's just that there are other potential options later on. Anyways, let me know again in the comments below if you did summon any of these banners. Let me know what you got. I'd like to be excited and seeing some of your great pulls. I hope there isn't too much salt. And later on, I will be putting up my brilliant encounter, since that is of great value to me. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.